Hey everyone, show and tell time again. I want to tear this new piece apart to show you guys how it's put together, but I guess I'll start by just talking about like sort of where this came from, or at least a little bit, because I can't really tell you the answer to that. But if you all remember my last piece, or those who do remember my last piece, it was this sort of manta ray-ish knife-like mashup of a piece that was sort of a couple of things and nothing at the same time. I guess this is sort of in that vein. The response to that was really, I think, positive. I think a lot of people like had, I think when I made that piece, I talked about how I tend to avoid doing things that have a really strong creature feel to them. I'm still sort of in that mindset, but this piece obviously is in that vein as well. But if you want to give an art, I guess I'll say it this way: if you want to give an artist an idea, you have to do it in a way that they feel like it's their idea. I think a lot of people were suggesting various different things. I think someone suggested I do something that was like a jellyfish or something like that, and I think and I say this jokingly, is there's no faster way to get an artist to not do something than to tell them to do it specifically. I guess I should just come out and say this thing's got sort of a crabby feel to it. But I wanted to do that in a way that was very much my own, and it started. This is one of the I only show you this because this is one of the few times that like something was very simple. I think this piece just started when I wanted to do a vessel shape, and I just drew like something like that. I just drew a curve with an arc, and I wanted it to be suspended. And from there, I just started working out like, now would this be the lid? And how would that all work? And, pretty quickly get in here. This kind of sketch. And from there, things just kind of took off, and I was able to sort of work out the mechanics and get that going. But I wanted to show the drawing. So the way this piece works, and the first thing that I just think is the bee's knees, is that this vessel underneath is suspended. It just hangs. And I guess I consider it to be, here, I'll show you that you can slip this right under it. I guess I consider this to be sort of more like a bottle, if we're gonna say what kind of a vessel it is. It unlocks by turning this, and that releases the bottle and allows it to slide out. So as far as bottles go, it's a very stout bottle. It's very short, but it has this narrow neck and this little tapered open top. So to me, this is bottle-like. I don't expect everyone to agree with that, but yeah, it's and that would make this the lid to the bottle, or the cap. So it's a very overwrought cap, but it has this like really great mechanism for just sort of capturing that. So when it's in this position, this is an open guideway, and then when you turn it, it just closes that guideway so that the bottle can't slide out. And then there's just a little stop pin on each end of travel. And so the bottle has these great little details milled into it. On the bottom, it's just a divot, but on the top, there is this negative indent so that you can get good thumb purchase on it. And that's so you can just hold it well and insert it and just guide it right in, and then lock it in. And then once it's in there, it's in there. So design wise, I'm super happy with how this thing looks and how this thing works. And even though the mechanism's pretty simple, there are other engineering things in it that help me feel like I was injecting a lot of different ideas into it all at once. And I guess I'll show that as I take it apart. I think one of the main things was how to attach these legs, or how to make a piece with legs on it in a way that was interesting. And I think one of the things that I do often enough that it's become sort of a theme is this idea of turning features that maybe should probably be milled. And so I will splice in a little video of how these feet are made, but I think most machinists in the sane world would probably just figure out a way to mill these shapes or mill a shape similar to this, but I really like the challenge of trying to use a lathe to create these nice swooping faces. It's subtle on this piece, but I think a lathe finish goes a long way to making something pop and look good. So let's start by taking it apart. So I will take the bottle apart first, I think. This bottle is made in 3 pieces, and I just have gotten into the habit of 3D printing these things to help me with hardware. And I may speed this up to get through this section, but these things just work really well and they don't scratch. So give me 1 second. Okay, so let me make some room here. So here is the bottle in 3 parts. So we have a lid that's machined separate from the bottom. And then on the bottom, we just have, is where these bolts thread through and just act on this little indent. And so the bottom section is what traps the top to keep those things together. These are the more functional elements, and this in particular is the wear surface, since this is going to slide in and out of the upper element. It's gonna start to show wear over time. I want to show how these legs kind of bolt on. So let me take the lower part off first. Okay, so that's the lower ring. Now, something interesting that happened with this. So this was machined as a round, right? I did a lot of these details first. I turned it and then I mounted it, and then I milled out this section, this relief here. Now, even after I milled that, this was still on a blank, and so when I parted it off, these jaws, this part, I guess there was some stress in there, so it closed slightly, which meant that the bottle didn't quite fit. So I had to get in there. It was only a few thousandths, but I had to get in there with some sandpaper and just gingerly open it back up so that it fit. I thought that was really interesting. I don't normally see brass move like that, so I'm not quite sure what happened. And then, so I have that to explore and improve, but when I finished. The knob piece went pretty good. I don't have any complaints or notes to improve this, so that's good. So that brings us to the feet, or this part. And this piece takes a lot of operations to make. This piece took me, I think this piece took half of the time it took to make the rest of the parts. And so let me take that apart. Again, my little tool. Actually, I'm just going to take off one of these. I don't need to take off all of them. Show how it works. So this is actually just a cover screw. This just is a decorative cover for what is, there's actually a real set screw down inside of here. And that set screw, so this is drilled all the way through, and then that set screw acts on this little dowel, which acts on this dovetail shape to wedge this foot in there. So pretty straightforward, but I think a pretty interesting assembly method, because I thought about ways to bolt it on there. So if I just loosen that, this just pops free. So as you can see, each of these just kind of fits the dovetail and wedges itself in there. But so yeah, so all you have to do is, once you get it in place, is then snug this down. And I've seen a lot of dovetail work in woodworking, but I think with metal, using dovetails, you get the added strength of metal gives you a lot more grace to do really interesting, fun things in terms of how things are assembled. So I really like using that assembly method and using that mechanic for just something decorative and something simple. So with that all said, this is sort of a complicated piece. I do want to do an edition of these, but it's not going to be a big one because this is a very time-consuming piece. So at this moment in time, I think my plan is to maybe make 10 of these. So I'm only going to make 10. I think I want to make them all unique. I think I want to change little things as I go. I think I'd like that opportunity. I'd like the opportunity to try different materials. So I'd like to try and make this ring out of stabilized hardwood. I'd like to try, maybe, I know someone's going to want one in stainless, even though that's going to be a little on the heavy side to hold. I think it's doable. But I guess I need a little time to work on that. But anyway, long story short, I guess I'll probably post something about it sooner or later. But for now, that's the piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly enjoy making the prototype and looking forward to fixing some of the little things that I want to tweak as time goes on. But for now, I'll look forward to hearing your comments. Thanks.